I've heard that thing so many times and it's been played so many. I thought other people, it probably means a lot to them. That's fine. I'll keep my opinion to myself. Personally, I thought I could give a damn if I ever heard that song the rest of my life. My name's Mike Endrud. I am now retired from oil field work. I lived in Watford City most of all my life. I retired about 8 years ago, moved to Bismarck here about a little over 5 years ago. And we built a new home down here and pretty much just kind of enjoy my retirement right now and play music where I can. And it's just kind of a quick nutshell, I guess, of what's been rolling with me anyway the last few years. My first car, I didn't get a license till I was actually 18.
I was 20.
Yeah, my folks, I'd get, cops would raid a party, and I'd get in trouble. And then they told me we were just about going to let you get your license, and then you pulled this.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'd wait, and then it would happen again, and I'd hear it. So I finally just gave up on the idea, and I thought, I'll just wait till I'm 18, and then I'll go get my license by myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Oh, yeah. They wouldn't let you get one.
No. I wasn't really that bad, but I don't know what the deal was there. But,
right, yeah.
You know, it's just normal kid crap.
Yeah.
You know, all that. But anyway, so I was about 18, just graduated. I needed some kind of a car. I worked all through high school at a grocery store. And there was times I wanted to buy one, but I wanted to buy it and finance it. But my folks didn't like that idea. They said, no, you need to save your money to get one. And I was not good at saving money. Never was.
Yeah.
So anyway, I finally bought, there was another kid in town. I bought a 1957 Chevy.
Okay.
From him. And it was over 150,000 miles on that car.
Really?
Yep, and I bought it for $150.
Yeah.
So, and it was a old 283 in it, 3-speed on the tree. Had an overdrive in it that you pulled out, you know, and but it had a fuse in there, and that it would blow, and that overdrive would kick out, and then the engine would just whine if you were going fast enough, and I'd have to stop and go out and put another fuse in and put it in again. Then I'd take off again. Then it'd work fine. Then all of a sudden it'd blow it again. I never did know why it did it. But anyway, I had that for quite a while, and I drove that around, and finally must have been about 70. I suppose about 70, yeah, it had to be 71, and I actually took off the thing to go to school in Minneapolis. I went to Brown Institute. I was went down there for radio broadcasting. And I drove that car all the way to Minneapolis, and school didn't work out. I was down there about 6-7 months, and it was a lot different than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were teaching you just as much how to be a salesman as a broadcaster.
Okay.
And I thought, yeah, I'm not liking this at all. So I thought I want to be a salesman. So I wound up leaving there after about 7 months, and I packed up everything I owned in that damn car to leave Minneapolis. And just as I was getting out of town, I was pretty short on money to get home. And I thought, well, I think I got enough to make it back to Watford. I'll see. And I was just heading out of town, and my generator light came on. My generator went out. I thought, oh, good. So anyway, luckily I happened to be not too far from a parts store. I ran in there, and they had one, so I had tools in my car. I pulled it out and
Oh, yeah.
changed it out, and they'd give you exchange for the old one, and
Cool.
stuck a generator in there, and I think I had about $20 left to get me home. And I thought, oh boy, this is because about every time I had to fill the car up, I had to put in. I got to where I used bulk oil. And I don't know if you remember, they used to have them glass quart jars with the big metal spout,
Oh, yeah?
and it was just bulk oil. And it was cheap
Yeah.
because it would use about a quart every tank of gas, So, so anyway, I did that. I put the generator in, and I took off out of there, and I got to, I believe it was Monticello, if I remember correctly. And that generator light was coming on and going off. And I thought, well, this ain't right. So I pulled into a station and asked the guy, I said, would you take a look and see if I did something wrong? I said, I just put in a new generator. Anyway, yeah, he said, I'll take a look at it. And I kind of had told him how my day had went, about how I'd left school and it was not a good day and the generator was out and I was trying to get home. I said, this just hasn't been a good day. And he took it in the back there, and he took the cover off what's a voltage regulator, and he poked the point shut, which he shouldn't have done, but he kind of poked them in, and voot, all of a sudden there was smoke just billowing out from the engine there, and he melted a whole bunch of wires.
Oh, no.
And I went, oh, good God.
Son of a bitch.
I went, shit, man, I got everything I own in this car, and he said, I'll see what I can do. So I hung around the station out in the one part, and he was back there, and he had to go out and wait on cars, as they came in those days. They had the gas station attendants and all that. But anyway, I bet he worked for over 2.5 hours rewiring it, hooking wires back up, and got it going. And I thought, now what am I going to do? I'm going to be out of money.
Yeah.
And he got all done. He come out with his rag, wiping off his hands. Well, I got it going. So I said, well, I said, okay. I said, well, how much do I owe you? And he kind of stood there for a minute, and he kind of looked down. Give me $2. I think you've had a bad enough day. And I said, what? Yeah, and I said, are you kidding me? And he said, nah. He said, you've been through enough today. Give me $2 and we're good.
Nice.
So I thought, man, I don't know how you get that lucky.
Yeah.
You run into people like that. And I think I stood there and thanked him for about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I headed on my way back home and stopped in Dickinson and actually I stopped in Wahpeton. My wife now, who was my girlfriend then, was going to school in Wahpeton. I stopped and seen her, and then I took off for Watford, and I got to Dickinson, stayed there with some friends, and then I drove to Watford the next day. Went to my folks' place and stayed there. And when I went out and I got up the next day, and I went and had the car parked out in the driveway, and I went and started it, and I put it in reverse, and it didn't have enough power to even back up. I mean, it just, it was like, okay, I got you home. I'm done. Finish.
Yeah.
That was the end of that car. It sat there for a while, and then somebody wanted to work on it, and I sold it to a guy like for $50.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that, and that was the end of the '57 Chevy. It was just like, okay, we've been through enough. I'm leaving now. You're on your own from here on out. So that was it for that thing. But that was my first car.
Just out and just wonderful, the 1957 Chevrolet. There's fresh new design plus new fuel injection engines that deliver up to 283 horsepower. Number one in the USA, the 1957 Chevrolet. At your Chevrolet dealers now.
Is no restart. Result.
So you got into music at 9?
9 years old, yes.
Was that pushed through your parents? On your own?
No, I always loved music. Guitars fascinated me, even when I was little. For Christmas, them old plastic ukuleles,
Yeah.
them little toys. That was my favorite thing to get.
Oh, really?
Oh, I loved them, yeah. And I'd sit and look in catalogs, the old Sears catalog, and stuff like that. And I remember in it was third grade, I had two choices, whether for Christmas, whether I wanted a guitar or skis.
Okay.
That year I opted for skis because I used to ski jump years ago. And then when I was in fourth grade, when I was 9, then I asked for a guitar. I started out on tennis rackets, pretending those were guitars.
Oh, yeah, I know that too. That's so funny.
Everybody did that when they were little. You had to hold your tennis racket and pretend it was a guitar and put some records on. But my folks always liked music a lot, and so did my brother and my sister, and they always had the old 45s. And I was always listening to Elvis Presley, of course. Buddy Holly was my favorite when I was little. Actually, when he was coming to Fargo Moorhead, when he was killed.
Oh, yes.
And I lived in Mayville, North Dakota, which is about 60 miles from Fargo. And I was hounding my folks that I wanted to go see Buddy Holly, and I wanted to go. I don't think they were ever going to take me. I was probably maybe 8 at that time, but I was even younger. I was about 6 because that was 58.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and I just loved that guy, and I thought, I want to go. I don't think they were going to take me, but I was trying to talk them into it, and my mother always told me when that happened, she said, I didn't really know how I was going to tell you, so it was it was that young that music just caught me.
Yeah.
And now when I was 9, I got one, a little, kind of the old fake Sunburst, just a little acoustic silver tone. And I got that thing. And then my brother was 8 years older than me, and he was kind of a electronics wizard, even at that age. So anyway, and he bought me a little contact microphone for it. It just clipped on the sound hole. Mm-hmm. And then we had this old Crosley radio, big cabinet.
Yeah.
Crosley, and he wired that up so I could use it as an amplifier.
Yeah, wow.
So I thought I was living pretty good there.
Yeah,
I think I'm making some
just
pretty good
jamming
noise.
through that, huh?
Yeah, playing through a Crosley
How'd that
radio.
sound?
Anyway, and we had that, and then I just started playing. I remember I had a little 45 record that came with the guitar. Taught you C, F, and G. And then it had this little chart thing, and there was like On Top of Old Smoky,
Oh, yeah.
the Red River Valley, and I forget the other one, there was like 3 songs on there. And then the record, now we're going to tune string 6. Boom. And you had to match it, Yeah, there wasn't any tuners in them days. All we had was an out-of-tune piano.
Right, sure.
In the house. You never knew. Those were never in tune anyway. Them old uprights anyway. And I'd sit there and I'd try and tune it. And I'd ask my mother, is that right? And she'd look, she said, no. She said, can't you hear that? I said, no. So I just kept on anyway. And I played that thing for, I bet you about 3 years. It's about all I had till from about 4th grade to 7th grade. my folks had split up in between that time, and my mother remarried. Well, I was living with my mother and my stepdad, and I wanted an electric guitar pretty bad. And we drove up to Fargo, and we went looking in some places, and we wound up at it was an old music store in Fargo called DeVoe's Music years ago. And we went in there looking. The guy said, well, I think I got one back here. You might be a used one. And here they came. He came out with a Fender Duo-Sonic. And I had a trombone that I'd played, and me and the trombone weren't getting along. Well, I didn't like it. And so we traded off the trombone. The guitar was $120. I remember that. And we traded the trombone, and we either paid $70 or $50 to boot. I don't remember which way it was. Either they gave me $70 for the trombone and $50 for the guitar, or the other way, or the trombone the other way around. But anyway, so I got a Fender. Man, I was on cloud nine. I thought, oh my God, I never thought I'd be going home with a Fender here tonight. This is cool. This is cool. And honestly, I've still got the guitar.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, 1959 Fender Duo-Sonic.
What year did you get this?
60... Must have been 62, I think it was, when I got it.
Oh, so you're like 10.
Yeah. I was about, I just started 7th grade. So I was about 10 or 11 when I got that. And then my brother had built me another amplifier by that time that I had, so I used that. And I had two guys that I played with. We started playing guitars together when they were both a year older than me. And we practiced and practiced as hard as we could. We even got our hands on a set of Ludwig drums one time too, and I drummed a little bit, and then the other kid finally started that, and our big drum, boy, we couldn't wait to play for a dance. We got to play for a dance sometime or another. And anyway, and there was some other older guys in the town. They had a couple of bands, and they were older than us, but they treated us really well. They didn't treat us like nuisance kids.
Yeah.
And I'd find out, my brother would say, well, they're practicing. He'd know, and I'd go over to their garage or a room up to the college in Mayville where they'd be, and I'd just go sit and watch. They were my idols, and just kept on like that. Anyway, then it turns out we're leaving and we're going to move out to Watford. And I wasn't very happy about leaving, but wasn't much I could do about it. The folks were moving and I'm going with. And we got to play for a dance in Portland, which is just 2 miles away from Mayville, the last night that I lived there.
Okay.
The next morning we were gone.
Yeah.
And I was pissed.
Right.
No,
yeah, you finally played shows.
We finally get to play it. I think maybe we kind of knew 10 songs, kind of played them over and over probably. I don't remember for sure. But anyway, we left there. And that was the end of that part of the deal anyway. And then I thought, well, now I'm going to move out to Watford. And I probably won't find anybody to play with out there. And oddly enough, I was telling you earlier about the friend of mine that just passed. That was Jimmy. And it was, I don't know how long, I hadn't been there, maybe about a week. And I was in the hall of the school, and I get this tap on my shoulder. And there's this blonde-headed kid with kind of baby cheeks, he was a year younger than me. He said, "You the new kid?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "I am." He said, "Well, I heard you play guitar." And I said, "Yes, I do." And he said, well, I play too. He said, you want to get together after school? I said, yeah. I said, I'd like to. So we went to his house and picked up his guitar. And he had one of those old Silvertone amps, 1482s, you know, with the knobs in the front.
Okay.
Them little tiny ones. And he had one of those Silvertone semi-hollow body, single cutaway. They call them Black Beauties now, with the Bigsby. Nice guitar. Anyway, and he brought that up to the house, plugged it in, you know, and I got mine out and we were going to play. And all of a sudden he started playing country stuff. I did not like country music at that time. I hated it.
Yeah.
You know? And anyway, and I said, and I looked at him and I said, you don't want to play that stuff. Here's what you need to play. And I think I started playing some of them old rock and roll car songs, you know, probably GTO, Beach Boys, blah, 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 that kind of stuff, you know. And that was, and and I told him, I said, you don't want to play that country stuff. And I think he felt a little embarrassed, you know. And years later, I had to eat my words.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I told him, I said, it's a good thing you didn't listen to me. Because he went on, after we got a little older and we both became steel players, he wound up out in Nashville and got to play some really, really cool venues, played with some fairly famous people, you know, and in the country market. I said, God, Jimmy, it's a good thing you didn't listen to me back then.
Yeah.
You know, so... But he was with me when I was about 18. And we were walking around in Watford, and I told him, I said, I'd like to get a steel guitar. The Burrito Brothers, Flying Burrito Brothers, and Neil Young was using it. You know, Ben Keith was playing steel. And it just caught me. And I thought, I want one of those. I like this. And he said, well, I know where you can get one. And there was an old guy in town that had an old Fender double neck 8-string, no pedals, but the old blonde, you know, with the little chrome diamonds in the front on it. This thing was mint. I mean, and I didn't really know anything about him. And he sold it to me for $50. And I said, yeah, I'll buy it. Well, I bought it, and I thought, well, now what do I do with it? Mm-hmm. So I just tuned it to some kind of a chord. I don't even remember what, but something that sounded semi-good.
Sure.
And I just used a flat pick, you know, and I strum it and slide it up there, and I'd play it, you know, like this. And I thought, well, I can't get any minors out of this thing. You know, and then I'd put it away and I'd dig it back out, play it a little bit, try again. Just really didn't know what to do with the thing. And Jimmy winds up going to school in Fargo. And he was still playing guitar at that time. And he gets down to Fargo. And some friend of his was listening to him play. And he said, why don't you play steel guitar? He said, you're playing guitar like you're a steel player.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, oh, really? So he wound up buying a pedal steel. And he comes back to Watford and he said, well, I bought one too, but mine's got pedals.
Yeah.
So I asked him, I said, well, how does that work? So he said, we sat down, he said, oh, you push down pedal 1 and 2, it goes from the, you know, E to the A, and then you move it up here. And I said, okay, this makes more sense. I'm going to get one of these too. So I did. Money was a little tight. You just didn't go buy things, you know. I had to wait quite a while, but I had it in my mind that I had to get one. Anyway, so I started, I had a regular job, and then I would work at gas stations at night. After I got home from work, I'd go work again.
So you get off work to go to work.
Yeah, and then I'd work from about like 6 till 10 at a gas station trying to make a little extra so I could buy one. And anyway, lo and behold, there was a local family band that knew I played that they needed a drummer. A friend of mine had been drumming for him, but he'd quit and left, and then they asked me if I'd drum. I said, yeah. And they said, well, we've got his set of drums you can use for a while. I said, yeah, well, okay, let's do that. So I went home, told by that time I was married. I was married pretty young. I was married at 20, and anyway, and told my wife, she said, you're going to do what? I said, I'm going to go be a drummer for them guys. I said, and I'm going to quit that damn station because I can make more money playing music on weekends than I can working at that damn gas station every night, 5 nights a week, And so I played drums for about 2 years. And then I had bought a little single neck MSA, 3 pedals, 1 knee lever, just a piece of crap. MSA Red Baron. And I had that about a year. And I thought, I need more than this. This ain't enough. So then I wound up buying a Showbud Pro 3, double neck 10. Anyway, and I bought that. So, and then I used to bring that to the dances we played for. And I'd play a couple of steel songs and I'd go back to drumming. And then I'd get off. The founder of the band, well, him and his dad had, and great guy, a guy by the name of Ordine Tweeden. Very nice man. And I think he kind of recognized where my heart was. He kind of looked at me one night and he said, why don't you just keep playing that thing all the time? He said, we'll just go without a drummer. Yeah, okay. Sounds good with me. So, so they let me cut my teeth on that thing. And fortunately, there isn't a lot of recordings of it, which I wouldn't really want to hear.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
I thought they had to put up with some awfully bad steel playing.
Sure.
But, and I just kind of took off from there with those things, and it was, here I am all these years later, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's a good world. Most of the time for steel, I just go down. I don't do a lot of steel jobs around town here. I just did one with Bill Falcon over at the Lonesome Dove, 2 weekends over there. And I haven't done too much of that around here since, but I go down to the Blues Jam down the Elks on Tuesday night. I keep thanking them people because I went down there and I heard these people play.
Yeah.
When I first moved to town, I thought, it's Jennifer Lynn and Torrance and Jim Anderson and Nolan's there sometimes and Kevin Holm. And all the people involved in that band are just incredible players. And I'd go down and listen to them. I thought, my God, these guys are good. I like this,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, well, it's a blues jam, so I kind of kept going back and listening, and I thought, boy, I would love to come and sit in with this. Finally, one night after they were done, I was sitting there and I just thought, well, I'm just going to go ask. So I walked up and talked to them and I said, would you guys mind if I brought a pedal steel to this some night? And I thought, and I think about, if you don't, I understand.
Right.
Because unfortunately, steels, the minute somebody sees one, their head goes to country.
Yeah.
They've just got that label.
Yeah.
So trying to do anything else with them is a little touchy sometimes because everybody thinks that you're going to do country all the time, and which is not the case, but, that's what it's known for.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, yeah, by all means, bring it down. We'd love to have you come in. I thought, well, I thought I was probably going to get told, well, it's probably not a good idea, and I'd have been fine if they'd have said that. So next Tuesday, I took it down there, and gosh, after that, they just said, well, yeah, when you come, just And they said, just come and set it up. And you just come up and play whenever you feel like you're going to fit.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and that's what I do. If I got to play this one, I go up and play. And then if they're going to do something like, I could play the song, but why? I don't belong here. So I'll go sit back down the table, and I'll stay out until I hear something and I think, yeah, there's a place for me in that one. So they've just been more than kind to me in that regard. Just kind of letting me do that. So that's a majority of my steel playing, and I've thanked them for, thank you for keeping the dust off me. Because if it wasn't for that venue, the only place I'd be sitting at home in my little studio playing with backing tracks from YouTube again, and that can get boring as hell after a while. It's like everything on there, they got the same progression, and I keep trying to find new ones. I thought, well, you gotta find something to play along with here. So
yeah.
So I go out and do that when I can, and anyway, and that's once in a while a steel job shows up, and I kind of wish I had more of them, but I do more acoustic and dobro stuff now than I do steel jobs. But I think I'm the happiest when I'm sitting behind, and I do singer-songwriter stuff too. I write some of my own songs, and I'm going down to do one in Spearfish again here in September. But I think my favorite spot, though, is when just let me sit behind my steel, put me over in the corner, and just leave me the hell alone.
Yeah.
And then I kind of get in my little world, and I thought, oh, God, I love it there.
Yeah.
That's kind of, musically, that's my favorite spot,
Yeah.
I think.
That's awesome.
Being the front guy never sat real good with me. I did it.
Yeah.
But I was always a little uncomfortable
Yeah.
with that part of the world. Me and my wife are kind of sightseers. We both like cruises. We've been on them. We've done maybe 7 or 8 of them. We both like to go. We had a bunch of friends in Watford, and about every other year we'd go on one down in the Caribbean, to all the St. Croix and St. Kitts and Barbados and all that, because the Caribbean's just great. Mm-hmm. I used to see all these pictures, of this blue water, and I thought, wow,
That's where I'm at. I've only seen photos.
It's real.
Yeah.
I went there. I remember we got there one place, and I looked, and there was just this sky blue water, and I said, look at this. It's not just a picture. They weren't lying. It's true, and we both, the old Aztec and Mayan ruins and old stuff, that just absolutely fascinates both of us. Mm-hmm. And we like going to those, and it's just incredible what they built.
Yeah.
We've been in some where they said, I forget the names of them all that we've been to, but anyway, and there was one that was like 50,000 people had lived in this place at one time. Great big, huge temples of all this stuff. And I thought, how they built that stuff way back then, it's mind-blowing when you look at it, and one time, though, we got to one, and right in the front of it, there was these little holes in the walls, little rooms, and they were probably, I don't know, 5 feet deep, maybe 8-10 feet long, and there was just a hole. I don't know if it used to be for guards or people that worked at stuff, but a rain will come up just like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it just started pouring. We got to crawl and hide in one of those while the rain was coming down out there. And I thought, this is pretty cool.
That's kind of surreal.
Yeah, and then you got to walk way up this one. There was all this engravings and carvings up on the top, and what it meant, I don't know. But yeah, there's just something about that kind of stuff that's just
Fascinating.
it's
yeah.
fascinating. Yeah, I like it. And one time we went when I was. Well, they always we always call it Dominica, but they always called it Dominica, the way the people that lived there said it.
Yeah.
And then we went out one time and one there and went on this hike through this rainforest with this person, went and hiked through that stuff, and I fell in love with eating pineapple.
Oh my God.
Man,
yeah.
we got to this one place and it was time to take a break, and they chopped up this fresh one out there, give us something to eat out there and some other stuff. And but it was so good. Oh man, I've loved pineapple. I never did before, but that day, that stuff was just so extraordinarily good. I thought, man, I like this a lot.
Yes.
So
That's how I am with coconut now too. We went to Vietnam and a lot of different stuff with coconut, but now I'm searching it out. So anything with coconut, bring it on.
Yeah.
And
it's
pineapple
funny.
too. And when we were trying the pineapple out there, gosh, I wish I could remember what it was. I'm at a loss at the moment, but it was some seasoning. You would just kind of dip it in and eat the pineapple that way. I'm like, oh, I've never, just new flavors and on my taste buds that I haven't experienced. I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I love traveling. Just those experiences that blow you away.
Yeah, they do. They do, that's for sure. I remember I think one of the first times we went, we were on our way out to a ruins, and we had to go on a bus. And we had to drive through the countryside quite a ways. And man, the way some of the places people lived were not much.
Right, yep.
Kind of old stucco places with no windows and And I was kind of thought, man, these poor people, what the conditions they got to live in, and this type of stuff. And then we kind of drove a little further, and I kept looking out the window of the bus, and there's these little kids running around playing, and these people are actually happier than most people I see.
Yeah.
And you're going, I thought they don't have much, and they're way happier than we are.
Yeah.
Or the norm here, in the U.S., and I thought, well, who the hell's winning here on this deal? I thought, they're out here, and to me, what looks like really poor conditions, and they look way more contented than I think I've probably ever been in my life, and it was just a little bit of a eye-opener in that kind of situation, I mean, nothing profound, but it just kind of hit me that way, and I thought, man, they're doing fine. They're just happy as they can be, and you didn't have all this crap like we do. But I don't know. So that part's always interesting too. My wife is a food nut, so
Oh, good.
eating is one of her favorite pastimes on different things. She likes trying all kinds of different stuff. I'm not quite as good at that part of it.
There's a few things you're scared to try.
Yeah, there's a few things like, no, that ain't for me. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. But
I'm kind of like that too. I love trying new things, but I'm also afraid I'm going to have diarrhea for the rest of the week on vacation.
Yeah. It can happen.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, we had one cruise where we got into bad weather. And, oh, man.
On the boat?
Yeah. And it was rocking.
Oh, yeah. So it's swaying.
And it's going like this.
I've never been on one. I'm kind of afraid for reasons like that.
Well, it's the only time it happened. Most of the time when you go to bed at night, you'll lay there and you'll kind of feel a little bit of this.
Oh, yeah. I like that, though.
Yeah, but that's but this one time it got bad. And there was about 10 of us on that. on that cruise from our bunch, and I thought, geez, I'm doing pretty good. You know, they were a lot of them had headed to the room because they got sick, you know, and all of a sudden, and I was walking down a hall and went banging, and all of a sudden, just bam, just like that. I thought, oh my God, you know, I'm sick. And I beat feet, and I had to hurry up and try and get back to the room, and I laid down on the bed, and it was just,
Swaying
you know,
back
you know,
and
like when
forth.
you got too drunk and you know
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to throw up.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yep.
And I'm laying on that bed. You know how you used to put one foot in the floor because it was supposed to stabilize you?
Sure, yeah.
No. Anyway, I lay around, oh my God, this has got to stop. This has got to stop. Well, I found one thing. We had a balcony off our room on the ship.
Okay.
And when I went outside and I sat down in a chair out on that balcony, I was fine.
I bet. So
The
maybe it
minute I got
helps to
back in
see
a closed
the
room.
horizon a little
All over-
bit.
yeah, I don't know, but I thought, well, I know where I'm going to be.
Yeah, just hanging out
And
there.
then one time I thought, later on, I thought, okay, I'm good now. And I think my wife had even found a Dramamine or something
Oh, yeah.
and gave to me too, which helped. And I thought, well, I'm pretty good now. I'm going to venture out. And I remember I went walk. I left the room, headed down the hall, and I was kind of banging from one wall to the other, you know. And I got a ways down there, and it hit me again. And I thought, no, I'm not good. I'm not good. I turned around, back I went, and I was still smoking back then, so I just sat out on that balcony and smoked cigarettes and stared at the ocean for
Yeah.
a good share of the rest of that day. And I did get down to supper, but I think out of 10 of us, there was only about 4 or 5 that actually made it to supper that night.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
So, but that was the only night, and after that, everything went good. I remember we were in, I think, Cancun and Cozumel and a bunch of stuff like that. I don't remember all exactly where, but yeah, it'd been some interesting trips.
I noticed your hat says golf sucks.
The way I play it, yes.
I've
But I
never
love
been
it.
golfing. I got
I
friends
love
that
it.
golf.
I
I
love
make
it.
fun of them all the time because I'm not a golfer. And it was never a sport that intrigued me at all. So I've always been like, golf sucks.
I never played at all in my, and I used to drive by the golf course when I was working. I lived in Watford. I think, what a dumb thing to do. You know?
Yeah.
Never had any desire. And then my oldest son started golfing when he was kind of junior high a little bit. And he kept on for about a year. And finally, one time I said, maybe I'll come out and try that with you sometime. And most people, you hear the same story. They went out and tried it once, and that was enough. They were hooked right there, And so I went out and I bought myself a little set of cheapy clubs, some Northwesterns at Walmart or something like that, and started playing. And then I bought some other stuff. I never have been very good at it, and I've always told everybody, I said, it's the only thing in my life that I allow myself to do that bad.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else, if I was that bad at it, I'd quit.
Yeah.
But you go out, you get a few shots here and there that are good. It makes you come back again.
Mm-hmm.
But I go out I got a couple friends in town here, and we go out about once a week. We used to do 18, but we all got a little older, and we decided, this is starting to hurt.
Oh, yeah.
You do 18.
You want
the
to have
next-
fun.
Next day, you're kind of going like, oh, boy, you're kind of aching here. And they're like, so this year we kind of cut it back to, well, let's just do 9.
Yeah.
We all agreed, that's a pretty good idea. We tried 18 once, and we thought, that was a bad idea. We'll go back to 9 again, so.
I'll go out sometime.
Part of getting older.
Yeah. My friends are like, hey, we just hang out, we drink beer all day, and, shoot some balls.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, we play little penny ante stuff. Like we'll play, if there's 4 of us, we have different partners for 3 holes, and then after 3 holes we change. And then if you make a putt, so whoever wins the hole, you got to give them $1, the other team. And then if you make a putt longer than the flagstick, then the other guy's got to give you $1. So if you do real bad, it'll cost you $9 if you lose every hole, and stuff like that. And we don't play for no high dollar stuff, but we have a lot of fun with it.
I saw you had made a comment about covering songs. Certain songs should just be done with.
Yeah.
Are there any specific songs out there that you think?
I hate to criticize them publicly, but I have my own opinions.
Yeah.
There's just some of them old ones like, my God, let them die.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's redone these. I'll give you one. Hang on, Sloopy. For God's sakes, put it in the closet for a while.
Yeah. Oh.
I've heard that thing so many times, and it's been played so many. I thought, other people, it probably means a lot to them. That's fine. I'll keep my opinion to myself. Personally, I thought I could give a damn if I ever heard that song the rest of my life. And there's been certain songs that have become popular that in bands I've said, no.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that. Achy breaky heart.
Oh,
I
yeah.
absolutely appalled that song appalled me. I hated it.
Yeah.
I thought that's the most disgusting song. To me it was, this is getting to be the demise of music here with this. And I hated it, and most of the guys I played with felt the same way.
Good.
And there's just certain, but like I said, over the years I've learned to keep my opinions to myself, in that regard. But there's been a lot of those I can think of others that are a lot of standards. And there's been good songs that have been beat to death.
Yes.
And
it ruins that song.
And it does. They and it gets so overplayed and overdone that you think, one of late Wagon Wheel. It's a great song.
Right.
And when I got a blank on the band that first did that. Old Crow Medicine Show. Their version was terrific.
Yeah.
What a wonderful song.
Yeah, right? Just perfect.
Yeah, and it came out good, and I thought, man, that's good. I like that. Well, then pretty soon this guy does a version of it, and then this guy does one of it, and this guy does
it. They're not making it better.
No, I don't think so either. I like the original version of theirs. Is really good.
There's a lot of songs like that. I'm like, why'd you even bother? Because it doesn't sound better than the original.
Yeah, I think they actually like it.
Yeah.
But, okay, maybe you like it, but it doesn't mean you're doing it any good.
Yeah, or justice.
Or improving on it, and, it's got to be one of those that I thought, oh, good Lord, people. I thought, and then time will go by and I'll hear the Old Crow Medicines version, and I think, now there, it should have been left alone right there, because that was the good one,
That's right.
And, so it's, but, I'm not the final judge.
No,
I have figured that out.
Yeah. That's how I am too.
I am in my world, but not everybody else is.
Yeah,
so, it's the same thing with bands, different things, and people love to come up and ask you your opinion. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to give you my opinion. That's up to you. I've heard a lot of bands I really like, and I've heard a lot of them that I'm not too fond of.
Yeah, right.
At different times, and, and I thought, well, it's just personal taste,
Can I admit something to you right now?
Sure.
You brought up Hang On Sloopy.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. It wasn't until this year I found out it was not Hang On Snoopy.
Oh.
Yeah. I know I'm an idiot. I told somebody else this. Like, did you know it was
as they
this?
call it, huh?
And they're like, well, yeah, of course I did. You thought it was Hang On Snoopy this whole time? I'm like, yes, I did. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I felt so dumb.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch hell for saying this on air too. But,
Oh, well. Yeah,
Oh, well.
no, I've had a few of those over by, where there's something that I've thought they've said something for a long time, and
Yeah.
then you go, oh, and I've probably even sang it
oh yeah, yeah,
and
live.
sang it wrong, didn't know,
Yeah.
and then I go like, ooh, I wonder if people have picked up on that all these years that I've been doing this, saying that, singing it wrong, but a lot of times it's how, you couldn't probably tell anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
right.
so close, like, Snoopy, Sloopy,
Yeah.
If you sang it wrong, nobody probably would have caught it.
Right. I was even in a band where our singer, we covered it too, and probably shouldn't have, because that's obviously one of those. And it wasn't just a cover; it was a few songs that we just kind of melded into that, because it had that chorus that just fell into. How many other songs had that same thing? And yeah, even then I thought they were saying Snoopy, and I'm playing guitar. Like, oh man. God, it was just one of those. I'm in my 40s now, and I just realized this. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's funny. You talk about different. Well, and a guy always can make a lot of good mistakes here and there too. In the process of. I was playing at that blues jam one night, and I had quit. I'd gone and sat down for a while, and then they were doing Stand By Me. Well, I've played that song. I could play that song in my sleep. Mm-hmm. I mean, no difficult progression there. How much of a simpler song can you get?
Yeah.
So I went, I'll get up and play that. And I'm sitting over there playing my steel along with it. And just like that, I lost the key. I just went blank.
Oh, yeah.
And I got up here, with I don't know if I was open or a pedals down spot. And I just did something really stupid, and just went like that. And I sat there and what key are we in? Well, it's in C, for God's sakes. Well, this is probably, the whole thing probably took 10, 15 seconds, but it was really,
right. That's a
really
long time.
noticeable to me,
Yeah.
Anyway, and we got done that night, and I was sitting over there, and I was talking to Richard. I kind of shook my head, and I said, I don't know what happened tonight. I said, of all songs, I said, we're playing Stand By Me. And I totally spaced the key. I said, I just lost it. And I said, and he kind of looked over me and he said, oh, yeah, I do that all the time. It's because we're old. So I thought, well, okay, I guess I'm not alone on this deal, So, yeah, it happens. I can live through them things a lot better now than I used to.
Oh, yeah.
I used
You're
to
not
just
as embarrassed or think about it.
Yeah.
Because I'll still think about things I did in junior high for some reason. I don't know why, but it comes back to
sometimes there's
haunt
some
me.
big ones that stick in your memory that you kind of go, you laugh about them now, but at the time it was pretty painful.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a time we were in gym in junior high, and we were doing sit-ups, and there was a pretty girl who had to hold my feet. We were doing like partner things at the time, and I just let one rip. I farted so loud trying to do a sit-up. And every once in a while, that memory will just like pop into my brain for no reason.
I bet she still remembers me.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering that. Terrible.
Yeah, didn't ask her to the prom either.
Nope. No, I moved out of that town. That was the only thing I could do after that.
Well, yeah, okay, I got to leave now after that one.
All right, Mike. Thank you for coming on and sharing part of your story here. Before you go, do you have some upcoming dates you might be performing where people can come find you?
Well, like I said, in the 12th, well, actually Wednesday, I'm going to Hazen to play with Jesse Veeder again and the Lonesome Willie guys. Got that to do. I'll be down at Elks for the Blues Jam again on Tuesday. 12th and 13th of September, I'll be in Spearfish, South Dakota at the Queen City singer-songwriter event down there. And that I'll just be, I don't know where exactly I'll be. They always have 2 or 3 guys playing at different places around the town. And then there'll be a show on Saturday night at the Matthews Opera House, where everybody that plays at it comes up and does a song.
Okay, cool.
And they have a show that night, and it's this is only the second year they had it. They kind of branched off. I used to go down to the Wild West Songwriters event down there, and it was 2 friends of mine now that I had met down there. They're the ones that originally got me into the Wild West. Heath Johnson is his name, good player, and Jason Guthmiller, same deal, and Wayne Bay. And they all kind of got me introduced down there, and I got started on that. Well, then Heath and Guthmiller branched off and started their own over in Spearfish last year. So that was the first year of it. So I'm going down again this year. They got a hold of me, and then it's an invitational thing, but they asked me to come back down again and do that. So, and I always look forward to that. It's kind of like I see some good people I know and good players, but it's the only time I see them. It's like once a year we all congregate down there, and really, really good bunch of players and writers, and then they have probably somebody a little better known come in,
Sure.
And then they have a few of I don't know about them. The Wild West one, they had some of the younger Nashville, well, I shouldn't say younger, but some of the Nashville writers come in, and then they played at different places too. And it's a good event. Now I got to write some new songs here within about a month. I need motivation. I need motivation, anymore. If I got too much time, I don't get a damn thing done.
Oh yeah.
But when
it's crunch time,
I got something I got to do, then the brain will go. I'll get to moving. So, because I've got bits and pieces like everybody.
Yeah.
I haven't finished this one. I got an idea, and I probably got 10 ideas that I have not come to fruition yet.
Little rips here and there.
So now maybe I'll be motivated enough to get them finished. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where that is. Other than that, I might be in Medora. That's questionable. Maybe the 28th through the 1st. I'm not sure. I'm waiting to hear with the Quality Shoes band I play with, but that's yet to be determined if we're going to be able to do that or not. But so I've done a little bit there too.
Cool. Well, thank you.
You bet. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.